In the dead of night, she vanished from her own bed. No footprints outside. No signs of a struggle inside. Just an empty room and a small red jacket, folded neatly on a dresser. This is how the story of Asha Degree begins. Not with chaos, but with a silence so profound it still haunts investigators, her family, and anyone who has ever wondered how a 9-year-old could disappear without a trace. What you're about to hear will make you question everything you think you know about missing persons cases, family instincts, and the unimaginable choices a child might make in the darkness of early morning. On February 14, 2000, Valentine's Day, the small town of Shelby, North Carolina, woke up to a reality no parent ever wants to face. Valentine's Day is supposed to be about heart-shaped candies, handwritten notes, and laughter shared between classmates. But for the Degree family, it became the day their daughter was gone. And despite decades of searching, the how and the why remain unanswered questions that pull at the very fabric of belief itself. The clock in the Degree household ticked past midnight into the early hours of the morning, giving no warning of what was to come. There were 3 bedrooms side by side. Asha's parents and her older brother slept in theirs, and Asha was in her own bed, alone. Nothing seemed out of place that night. There had been no arguments, no sudden movements, just the quiet hum of an ordinary home settling in for the night. But then, something changed, and that change has been dissected ever since by law enforcement, psychologists, and armchair detectives alike. At some point in those pre-dawn hours, Asha got out of her bed. Why? What drove her? No one knows for certain. Was it fear? Curiosity? Was she following a plan or just an impulse? That single moment, that one decision, is the first of many mysteries in this case that refuse to be solved. When Harold and Akila Degree woke up that morning, they discovered what no parent ever expects. Asha's bed was empty. At first, her mother assumed she had simply wandered into her brother's room, as children sometimes do. But when that door opened and Asha wasn't there either, a deep sense of dread began to settle in. Nobody in the house had heard a thing. No footsteps in the hall, no voices, no indication she had even left the house. Imagine the absolute horror of standing in your child's empty room, the blanket still holding a trace of warmth, the scent of their shampoo lingering in the air, and knowing with every fiber of your being that something is terribly wrong. The Degrees called her name. They checked closets, the backyard, and the neighbors' homes. They thought maybe she had tried to walk to a friend's house, or just stepped outside to see something in the night. But no one had seen her. No one answered their frantic calls, and with every passing minute, the uncertainty deepened into terror. First responders arrived quickly. Volunteers formed search lines that stretched through the cold fields, the dense woods, and the quiet residential streets of Shelby. Drones and K9 units would be used later, but in those first critical hours, it was people, neighbors, family, friends, and total strangers combing through their landscape, shouting her name into a wind that just seemed to carry it away. Yet, no trace of her was found. No footprints in the morning dew. Nothing but a chilling, heartbreaking silence. Then, later that afternoon, a moment occurred that would twist this mystery even further. A truck driver, passing along Highway 18, saw what he believed was a small child walking along the edge of the road. It was nearly dark by then, and rain was starting to fall. He slowed his vehicle, thinking it was strange. His eyes locked with hers for just a brief second. A little girl, wearing a red jacket. He thought it was so odd that he turned around to check on her. But by the time he got back to the spot, she was gone, having run into the woods. He called the authorities, and deputies arrived within minutes. But the girl had vanished. Was it Asha? Some believed it had to be. Others thought it could have been a case of mistaken identity in the fading light. That single sighting, however, ignited both hope and dread in equal measure. Hope that she was alive, and dread that she was still out there, all alone, possibly scared, and still walking into the unknown. Days turned into weeks. Weeks turned into months. The investigation stretched in every possible direction. Law enforcement interviewed the family extensively. They sifted through school records, friendships, routines, and habits. They looked for strangers in the area, suspicious individuals, and any vehicles seen near the Degree home around the time she disappeared. And yet, after years of digging, the case remained painfully, frustratingly unresolved. With each lead that fizzled out, the sense of loss and confusion only intensified. As the years passed, theories began to emerge. Some were grounded in logic, others were speculative and wild. Could she have simply wandered off into the woods and succumbed to the elements on that cold, rainy night? Could she have met with foul play at the hands of a stranger? Was someone she knew involved? Or, in the most perplexing theory of all, did she leave on her own, driven by something we may never understand? Each theory spoke to a different, primal fear, the fear of helplessness, the fear of evil that lurks just out of sight, and the fear that our children are not always as safe as we believe them to be. Every single theory left behind a cloud of what-ifs that refused to disperse. The Degree family never, ever stopped searching. They held vigils. They distributed countless flyers. They appeared on national television programs, pleading for any information that might bring their daughter home. Every missing person poster, every news segment, every cold case update became a heartbeat in their ongoing struggle for answers. But as the years passed and the world changed around them, that hope became both a lifeline and a burden, a hope that sustains, but also a hope that tortures with its uncertainty. Communities far beyond Shelby, North Carolina, adopted Asha's case as their own. Amateur investigators and online sleuths combed through old photographs, timelines, and witness statements. Online forums buzzed with debate, each tiny piece of information dissected, reassembled, and questioned from every angle. Some were driven by a deep compassion for the family. Others were driven by a relentless curiosity. But every new theory brought with it both a flicker of excitement and a heavy dose of skepticism. Because until there is concrete evidence, there is only possibility. And possibility can be a cruel companion. It's what keeps you searching. It's what keeps you awake at night. It tempts you with the idea that the very next clue could be the one that unlocks everything. But when that clue doesn't appear, the open loop of uncertainty tightens around your mind like a vice. For Asha's family, that loop has never closed. For investigators, it is a case file that stubbornly refuses to be shelved. And for the rest of the world, it is a story that keeps drawing people back, desperate to understand what really happened on that cold February night. Some details of this case remain simple, almost mundane. A folded jacket, a bedroom left untouched, a stretch of road where someone thought they saw a child. Other details are like shadows, fleeting sightings, memories unreliable flicker in the fading light, and the whispers of theories that drift between plausible and fantastical. Each of these elements adds another layer of complexity to a mystery that is far from solved. At its core, this case is about a little girl with big dreams, a family who loved her more than anything, and a single moment in time that changed everything forever. But it's also about the vast, terrifying unknown. It is about the things that can slip through the cracks of our daily routines and our best attempts at vigilance. It's about the fragility of life's certainties and about the fundamental human need to make sense of things that defy all explanation. That need is what drives us to search, to question, to hope, and sometimes to fear what we might never find. To this day, the case of Asha Degree remains open and active. Her disappearance is catalogued in national databases, referenced in missing person alerts, and still discussed by those who scour the world for clues. And although so much time has passed and the seasons have changed over and over, the search persists because every unanswered question carries with it a cost, an emotional weight that does not diminish with age. What would it take to finally close this loop? A verified sighting? A new piece of physical evidence? A deathbed confession? Or perhaps something deeper, a memory unlocked, a forgotten conversation revisited under a new light? These are the questions that pull us back into this story again and again, because as human beings, we cannot rest easily with ambiguity. We seek resolution, even when it seems completely out of reach. And in Asha's case, that resolution remains tantalizingly, painfully elusive. And so we return to where we began, the empty room, the folded jacket, and the disappearance that refuses to be forgotten. There are theories, there are leads, and there is a family that continues to hope against all odds. But until the moment when the truth finally steps out of the shadows, the story of Asha Degree will remain one of the most haunting and perplexing mysteries of our time. Thank you for watching. If you have any information about the disappearance of Asha Degree, please contact the authorities. Every small detail could be the one that finally brings her family the answers they have been waiting for. Please subscribe for more stories that deserve to be told.